Namaskar everyone, I'm Pavini Khandelwal and welcome to the Cambridge Code Group of Schools podcast. Today we have a very special guest amongst us, a person who is leaving her mark in the world as we speak today. My beloved senior, a person who scored rank 1 in CUET session 22-23 and currently studying in Lady Shri Ram. Welcome, Ms. Paki Thakaria.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So, first of all, how was your experience? Like, from scoring rank 1 in CUET to studying in such a prestigious college as Lady Shri Ram, how was the journey like?
I think it was one of a roller coaster. It's a common notion that if you score good marks, it's an open gateway to good colleges in the country or even abroad for that matter. But I think it's not as easy as it is shown or marketed. Like, all they tell you is score good and you'll be there. I think that's a misconception. That's a myth that needs to be demystified as soon as possible, because there's so much more that you need, in your personality for you to be able to survive in that rigorous environment. It's good to get into a good college, but I think surviving healthily in a good college is kind of difficult. And
Okay, so like you talked a lot about surviving there and the skills you need to survive there. So, what all skills which like particularly school provided you, or the skills which you learned in your schooling years which helped you in your college or which is helping you right now?
I think one of the best things that school taught me was how to present myself in front of others, right? So we know things about first impression, how we show ourselves is all that matters. But I think it takes skill at your end to be able to show yourself as someone who could be approachable to people, who is open to networking with people, because I think going to a good college is not just about good academics. It's a lot more about connecting with people from that mindset, connecting with the creamiest students in the country. There's so much that you learn. There's so much that everybody has to offer. So one thing that the school taught me was how to connect with people around you, how to show yourself in a manner that opens your gateway to the sharpest minds in the country, to portray yourself, to be a good team member. That's something I learned being in core committee. So that was something school gave me.
Now, once again, you talked about core committee. Now, working in core committee and you served as the head girl of our school, it must be really hectic, right? Like balancing your extracurriculars, then your academics. So how did you manage all of that?
I think first thing is acknowledging that it's not going to be easy. So when you sign up for something, you need to know that these are the challenges that are going to come to you. And resilience, grit is something, because there is so much that you will learn, not just by being the head girl, but just simply the fact that you are in core committee, which does so many things in the school, right from organizing Dandiya nights to farewell. There's so much that you participate in, but nobody really wants to talk about the challenges that comes along the way. And there are going to be several moments when you're not able to deal with that alone. At that moment, I think you do need help, and it's right to seek for help, no matter if you're the head girl of the school. I think my teachers played the most important role. They've seen me cry, and I couldn't share it with my teammates. I couldn't share it with the student body also. And because there were times when I needed support from schools and I needed some space because it was getting too much, I think the school administration and teachers were pivotal there.
Yes, so basically you did talk a lot about opening up to teachers, right? So what was it that made you open up to your teachers? And also, because we are talking about teachers and your school memories, what was that one memory which like really reminds you of your school days?
I think at Cambridge Court, we have this culture. One of the best things about that culture here in Cambridge Court is that we greet our teachers with namaskar. And I used to find it quite awkward, like, why would you say namaskar to your teachers, right? But here, when I was here, like 4 or 5 years, I realized that the first thing that we should feel when we see our teacher or someone elder to us is actually that sense of respect, which I think namaskar shares. It imbues that sense of respect. Another point about the culture here at Cambridge Court is that it pushes you for academic excellence, while at the same time they focus equally on your grooming as a person. Because in today's time, if you only focus on academics, I think that is skewed. You need to manage both well. And Cambridge Court has that, legacy of producing students who know how to balance things, who know how to give priority to your principles, to your ethics, because when you step outside, you would realize how important principles and ethics are. I think one thing that which I learned here at Cambridge Court was first things first, respect towards teacher. And there was one thing that I felt that government colleges lack. And being a Cambridgian, it put me on a pedestal where my bond with professor was so good just because of the ethics I had learnt in my school. And I could easily stand out in front of my professors over my peers. That was one thing I learned here at Cambridge Court. Other than that, I think participation was something that was valued here so much that I learned the importance of participation by the time I got there. Because not always are you going to succeed, but it's natural for you to think that, okay, if I'm not succeeding, let's step back. Here at Cambridge Court, I realized that participation is so much more important than winning, and that participation spirit, like that participatory attitude, is going to take you forward and not that temporary success. So that was one thing that helped me in my college.
Pakiti, the way you're so expressive, the way you express yourself, and the way you're so put together, does Cambridge Court had any role in that? Does the opportunities which were provided by your school shaped you into the way which you are right now? Because all of the qualities which you have, they just can't come overnight.
Absolutely. I think I need to give this little spoiler. I have not been like this all my life. I was a terrible speaker. I used to be an introvert, reserved child, and I remember my mom used to change my schools just because she was not happy with me being underconfident. So I've been a very underconfident kid all my life. And I started participating in such competitions related to oratory, say extempore, anchoring, debate for that matter, group discussion, when I was in class 11th. So it's so fresh in me. I have not been doing this all my school life. I stepped into this, communication domain just 2 to 3 years ago after COVID. What helped me was that I had a lot of opportunities. Like, because 11th was so fresh, it was just the start. I didn't know a lot of things. I wasn't able to put myself forward. And I think what helped me was getting options again and again. Like, if I lost one debate competition, it's okay. Let's start all over again. Oh, I lost this. Let's start all over again. I participated in, 4-5 debate competitions, so many group discussions, so many extemporaries, and I did not win them at all. I started winning when I was in class 12th. So I didn't know how to balance it back then, but it was all so fresh, and it was all a consequence of being pushed, being given with adequate number of opportunities to experiment myself. I didn't even know if I would be a good speaker. But just because I started participating, I realized, oh, this is something I enjoy, and let's try it out here. So that is how pivotal role Cambridge Court played in providing me the opportunity to experiment and to realize, okay, this is what I'm good at. Let's do this.
So you talked about the school pushing you towards your goal and towards the very extreme. Was there any learning or was there any experience you want to share with us from your seniors or from anyone who might have encouraged you to, be the person you are right now?
Absolutely. We used to have so many talk sessions directly with Lata ma'am, right, the director. And it would always be so transformative. I remember a time when I was so interested. I actually asked 6 to 7 questions in one row. And she was like, okay, fine, I'll answer all your questions. So that was the level of excitement that I had whenever Lata ma'am would talk to us. And I think one thing that Lata ma'am said, which actually stays with me and I think is always going to stay with me, was ma'am gave this advice that, you have a line, okay? Now that line might seem very long to you, right? It's a huge line. How do you make it short? By drawing a line that's longer than it. And you bring this idea to the idea of your problems. You have a problem. Because you're so much into your problem, you think, oh, this problem is so huge, man. Like, what do I do of this problem? One simple step. bring forward something that makes it look so small that you realize how trivial your worry was. To make a line short, we always draw a longer line to realize how short this line is. And this is something that has always stayed with me whenever I find myself whining about things going wrong in my life. I just remember drawing that bigger line, seeing that bigger picture. Okay, this is happening, but this is happening for my good. Okay, they are grilling me in an interview. That's all right. That's going to make me shine afterwards. So drawing that long line, seeing that bigger picture has always helped me. And another experience encounter that helped me was with Arna ma'am. She's been my favorite always because I have participated so much in these, taking interviews, talk shows, guest lectures, and Arna ma'am would always be the one guiding me. So I was lucky enough, fortunate enough to be under Arna ma'am's guidance. And I clearly remember it was the first Zoom meeting session with all the students that had been selected for taking alumni interviews. And there were so many students from high school, world school, and everybody was asked to give a short introduction. And I was so nervous because people there were so damn good, and I didn't know how to, portray myself in a manner that can, create a spark. And I just said, hi, I gave my introduction, and I just said one thing in the end. It was like, thank you so much, Arna ma'am, for, giving me this opportunity. I would try to make the best use of it. The only person Arna ma'am, appreciated was me. And I did not understand why is she appreciating me. And she said, the fact that I took a moment to thank the person who has given me this opportunities show, how much humble I can be. And she appreciated my humility then and there, which made me realize how small things like these help us groom in a manner, help us make stand out when we are reaching out to people. So Arna has played a pivotal role in grooming my personality when it comes to talking to people, putting myself forward, and things of that sort.
So the next question, okay, coming from such great academic excellence, being rank 1 CUET topper, what were the challenges? What all did you face?
One of the biggest challenges was being true to who I am, because I'll tell you, when you achieve some accolades, there is some difference between who people think you are and who you actually are. People might think, oh, you scored so well, you might be into studies totally, you would study 10 hours a day, but low-key, honestly, I know that I'm not like that, right? I can't be someone who's only into studies, someone who just prioritizes their academics over everything when I don't enjoy academics that much. One thing was creating a balance between what I like and what I'm expected to do. Second challenge was, I think, related to, like you said, balancing things. I was in extracurriculars, competitions, so many things. Balancing was a major challenge. Third thing was, I think there's some sort of parental pressure also when you're in class 12, because you have to perform well at the end of the day. My debate competitions will not get me through admissions entirely. I have to have a good scorecard. So these were the challenges I think I faced, but most of them were, rooted in the idea of balancing.
So once again, coming back to the question, is there any message you want to share with our Cambridgians, or any message you want to share with our teachers?
I think teachers first, because they deserve, credit for where I am today. I was someone who did not have a good bond with teachers for a very long time. I did not like the entire breed of teachers. It was that bad. Because I think if you do not get good teachers, you get drifted away from a lot of things. There's this term, I think, called Pygmalion effect, which relates to the, relation between the faith teacher puts in and how well the student performs. So my teachers have been playing a pivotal role in shaping me into who I am. Not just academically, my teachers were always available whenever I would have doubts. In the middle of boards, I would call them to school and we would sit together, and they would have to sit and clear my doubts, and they would do it so happily that I would never feel out of place. Personally also, they helped me a lot, because I think at this stage you face so many challenges, so many mental breakdowns, you don't know how to deal with them. You can't always seek help from your parents, because there are some situations where you have like generational differences. Your parents might think differently and you might think differently. I think my teachers bridged that gap really well for me. My teachers showed faith in me at a point when there was no one. And I'm not, exaggerating, but the only person I wanted to do it was for my teachers, because they were the one who held faith in me and I did not want to disappoint them. So I think a two-way bond with teacher is so underrated in today's time. I can never stop, expressing my gratitude to them for always being there for me, for sharing so many important insights with me. Even during my CUET, my teachers were there to help me out. Just give them a text and they'll clear all your doubts. And I don't know who does this so unconditionally.
Thank you, Paki Didi, so incredibly much. I have learned so much in this interview. One thing which I will take away with myself is seeking help, talking to your teachers, being emotionally connected with them, something which will definitely help you in the long run. So thank you, everybody. That was it for today's podcast. This was Paki Thokariya for you. I'll see you guys in the next episode.